The broadcast recorded?
The broadcast is recorded
Neat.
and live at the moment and recorded for later. So anybody we can't get here in Columbus, we will, I gotta get quiet, they're working on their mic checks over there. But anybody who can't come here in person, I'm gonna make sure that we check over here occasionally and see if we can get you in on the broadcast over here. And you can, either record a happy anniversary message or just chat with us for a while. And then we will cut some of it into the main broadcast recording, as well as releasing this one in our first video format, as well as everything else is our first today. So this is what we look like when we're recording.
That sounds so fancy. Initialize audio. Insert Tron noise here. Hey, I'm the green guy.
So the next 20 minutes of this video are probably going to be really boring because it's just going to be us milling around setting up, but I wanted to make sure that this piece of the kit was working. And if I stop it now, then there'll be two different broadcasts instead of one. So scrub through for the next 20 minutes and tune back in and see what's going on.
You could call one the pre-show again.
Were you bored? Were you lonely? We went downstairs to get food. We're at Iron Bank's Coffee Company. They're hosting and housing us today, so we are sampling some of their delicious food and coffee beverages. And you could have some, except you're on the computer. And so I feel sorry for you. It's okay. I told them to scrub through this part, so they're not listening anyway. Somebody's here.
No. You. All right. ArTechnik, not the bathroom. Our new slogan for year 2. Ick. Yeah, this is the Epiversary. Yeah. Because it's, I think that's probably the most technically correct. Plus, it's kind of a quirky name, so.
I like it.
Yeah.
It feels more fun.
It's just much better. So we're really recording now?
I guess so.
Oh, I didn't see that running, so I.
Well, that's what I asked him. I was
That's what I
like,
was
is that
waiting
one?
for.
is that
Hey!
supposed to be-
Hey, guys.
Welcome!
How you doing?
Hi there. Say hello and introduce yourselves.
Oh no, oh no.
Yeah?
Hey, I'm Nathan Hesse.
All right, Nathan.
Oh, and I'm Steven Daniels.
He's been here a while.
I've
We
been
didn't
here.
make him introduce himself earlier. No, this is the
No,
point.
this
You're
is what we
supposed
want
to be
people
on
to
it.
do.
Oh,
Although we're not really sure if Jeff is actually
He
recording.
claims he is.
He is not.
Super.
That's the only thing that's going. This is not going.
Hey!
Neither those things are going. You lied. We're not.
What?
We're not going.
No, that's going.
Right. Well,
No, we thought
right.
or this guy that uses the button.
Huh?
No, it's a good thing we weren't recording.
We are now.
We're recording now.
I just got back from Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the ArTechnik. That's a weird sound, isn't it?
What sound?
No, whatever. Welcome to the ArTechnik 50th Epiversary party.
Woo!
We got some folks trickling in. I am Jeff Holbrook.
Yep, I'm Adam Monte.
I'm Aaron Gottlieb.
And I should turn the mic so that I can hear Aaron.
Yeah.
So you
Cool.
can-
And but we're recording our podcast this week from the conference room in Iron Bank Coffee.
We are.
And
Yeah.
it's fantastic. If you're in the
Yes.
Columbus area, come down, come and see it. Get some coffee.
Coffee.
I think if they're, oh well,
Stock
just
in
in
coffee
general.
if they were publicly traded.
Yeah.
Buy bags of coffee.
Yeah.
Buy a new HVAC system.
For them?
It's warm.
Well, I
up here.
see lots of things. Anyway, they're always improving.
They are. Every
That's what I'm
time. There's
saying.
always
It looks so
something new
nice.
added. Yeah, yeah.
It looks so nice.
It's got a stage. It's got chandelier.
They took out a wall.
They did?
Yeah. There used to be a smaller.
Oh, right.
shop.
Right. Yeah. Because the conference room used to be on the first floor.
Yes.
And now they've expanded, renovated into this cool little nest that you can. There's actually windows. You can actually look out amongst the common people. And sip your coffee. Yeah.
I'm amongst the rabble.
Fantastic.
It's nice because normally we're the common people that folks are looking down and out
Right.
on.
Yeah. There we go. Now.
How about now?
Yeah.
That's a little
Yeah.
better?
I mean, there's a little far away.
Sure.
You want to come over here?
I suppose
That's
I
probably best.
Okay.
Hey, while we're still waiting for more people to trickle in, let's maybe talk about what we've been doing this week.
Okay. What have we been doing?
Sorry, we're a little road rules today. We've got
Yeah.
microphones just sort of
Yeah.
strung up.
Scattered all
We
around.
have. I'll take a picture of it right now. Hey, Aaron. Where can people view the live stream of this?
Oh, thank you.
There will be a link directly. I believe it's going to be a YouTube video once it's saved and posted. But we're trying out Google Hangout broadcast on air. So we've sort of got a simulcast going on. So if you've ever wanted to see the faces behind the voices of the
I
podcast,
don't know why you ever would.
well, Adam's worth seeing.
Yeah. Look
Um,
nice.
and so you can check out the ridiculously long simulcast video that we've got.
The
With
unnecessarily
the
long.
30 minutes of prep before
Yeah.
we get to the actual
Feel free to
podcast.
scrub through until you actually see us sit down with the headphones
That
on.
totally reminds me, there was, when I was at the junior college I was at in Albany, Georgia, the two-year college, they used to record the plays that we did, and then they would broadcast them on the college channel at a later date. And when we did 12th night there, they recorded it, and they recorded it on the last night of the show, on strike night. Well, apparently the audiovisual guys came in and just set up a tape, hit play about 10 minutes before it started, and then just let it run. So when they broadcast it on the college channel, it also captured the 3.5 hours of strike after the show was over.
That's one of the fantastic thing because people don't understand
Right.
how much they do.
It was absolutely hilarious, and so and so I guess when they put it in, they were like, "Hey, we've got a block of time," and they just hit play and play the entire show with the strike.
Nice.
Of course, the language usually gets a bit saucy during strikes.
Fortunately, I think somebody had shut off the microphones because we had control of that because we would amplify for the house.
Okay.
So it was no audio; it was just the strike. Yes,
Probably
thankfully.
for the best.
Yes.
So this week I've been auditioning. I booked officially the Cat in the Hat. At
We
the
can
Center
announce
for
that
Puppetry
now.
Arts.
Yay!
So I'm going to be in one of the big professional national premieres of the Cat in the Hat. I went to an audition yesterday, only to discover once I was there that the schedule was totally not going to work with my existing contract. So I was like, oh, well, I really appreciate you being willing to have me in, but sorry. So that's sort of what I've been doing.
Cool. I've, let's see here, this week, this is, by the time this thing posts tomorrow, I will have completed my Sherlock's Mystery Dinner Theater contract, and it's been fantastic playing around with Cameron Dean and Sam May. And, cool. Oh, and we have our first guest.
We do.
We're going to talk
I'll let him
about
introduce himself and give him the head.
Our first guest that will speak to us.
There you
Come
go.
on. And this
Sure.
is your mic right here.
Okay, who am I with?
Hey.
You are with ArTechnik podcast, and you're with Adam ArTech. I'm going to take good care of you. He's great.
Yeah.
Good mic, and you should be able to hear you just fine.
Hey, we're actually, we're having a little bit of a party today. This is our 1 year anniversary of having this podcast, and we discuss the arts as well as technology and kind of the intersection of the two. So, what's your name, first of all?
Reggie Luke.
Hey, Reggie. So, what brings you to ArTechnik today?
Well, actually one of the others, and we just working with John here looking for some things.
Oh, that's fantastic. I just want to then thank you for giving us the space and allowing us to be up here,
Sure.
and just to say what a wonderful place it is. The coffee is great, the food is great. It's a fantastic atmosphere. I just love to just come and hang out and work. And so
I just had the spicy sweet potato.
very
Right.
nice.
So we actually had it at the Coach Well, everybody loved it.
Right, cool. What prompted you to want to open this coffee shop here in Columbus?
Well, it's kind of funny. We weren't really looking to do it. It just kind of happened. I owned it before. It was called City Falls Coffee.
I remember that, yeah.
And we were just over here one day and you just wanted to sell it. So we jumped in.
Fantastic, yeah. And Aaron was actually just saying a moment ago, he's always impressed because he lives out of town in Atlanta, and every time he comes back, there's actually something new each time. Either it's an expansion of the menu, and it's an expansion of the space. It's just constantly changing.
Yeah, there's been a lot of growth. That's one thing we're trying to do is just keep up with growth.
Right.
You know, we got people in, we're expanding the kitchen, so the menu got expanded, so that was kind of a tough thing to get through.
Right.
Well, when everybody's caffeinated all the time, you gotta keep finding projects, or you end up just sort of wandering around the building.
Speaking of keeping up and everyone being caffeinated, I appreciate that you brewed me a decaf Americano, because I am having coffee once a week now. But I love the taste of coffee, but I don't get the caffeine anymore. So
Were you just
appreciate
getting
it.
too jittery?
Yeah, well, I was a little like I am now.
Yeah. Right.
I see.
Yeah, I've heard that our coffee is really high octane as well. So
Yeah.
I'm a big learning to become a coffee lover, but so it wires me up. So I understand it really wires everybody up. So.
Absolutely love it. Cool names. Well, anything else?
Yeah,
Question?
Well, tell me a little bit more about your group and what was your guys?
Well, this is, we're three friends. We went to CSU together, and we've kept in touch since we graduated. Most of us kind of trickled out mid-2000s. And so we've stayed in contact. And about a year ago, Jeff had always kind of had a bit of a dream to have a podcast, host a podcast. And it was just not something we were talking about for seemed like a month. And then finally one day, Jeff said, "We're going to do this starting next week." and I didn't 100% believe him until we showed up at the house and he had all the equipment set up. And I was like, okay, we're going to do this. And so we just kind of kept it ongoing, and we interviewed some people. We bring articles and just kind of discuss what's going on out there in the world.
Primarily in art and technology.
Yeah.
So you guys are a Square-based business.
We are. Yes.
You don't have a standard cash register at all. You have the Square system.
And Square's the only thing we have. Exactly.
Jeff
There's it
Sawyer,
right
by
there.
the way.
That's right. There's Square came out with just Square. It's kind of a personal thing. Now they've got one that's called Square Register. So
Okay.
that's what we use.
Yeah. It's really great.
Yeah, it's really nice. It sells, as you've seen, the print tickets and as well as email or text. So it's really nice.
That's so great. I enjoy. I'm gonna speak louder just so I can be heard. But I enjoy the music and stuff that comes through here. I don't know if you go up to Athens, Georgia, much at all, but they have a great music scene there, and this is the closest thing in town I found that reminds me of that music scene, which is
Yeah,
really
that's good to hear. Now, I don't go to Athens much, but I have heard that great music scene.
yeah. So I
But I
enjoy
think
that.
there's, more music. I guess you heard about the music festival that's coming here.
No.
May the 17th and 18th. No, well, 18th, 19th, whatever that weekend.
Mhm.
It's a big music festival.
Oh, May. That's like tomorrow. No.
Yeah.
Actually, John, my partner here, he's buddy now. John, buddy.
Yeah, I know, buddy.
Well, there's several of them. You'll probably hear something here pretty soon about it. So, I mean, they've already got 40 or 50, music acts lined up. This is gonna be a big deal.
That's fantastic.
Maybe we can get a remote set up there as well.
Oh, that'd be
That'd be
great.
fun.
Do a whole music weekend.
You know.
So y'all do this every week here?
We don't do it here. We decided to kind of step out and do something special because it's our 1 year. But we normally meet at
It's come
Jeff's
by more
house.
often.
We could, yeah.
We sort of all were discussing where we would want to meet up in public and have people that could just walk in and be part of the party. Hey, Sarah.
Yeah. Okay.
And it was sort of unanimous that we would come to Iron Bay.
So what's the other guys? What's the crowd here? So is this just group?
These are some friends from CSU. Y'all can introduce yourselves again on the radio part of it.
Yeah.
Over the mic.
Well, I'm Nathan Hesse. I'm a junior at Columbus State University, and I'm majoring in theater performance.
Oh, okay.
And I'm Stephen Daniels. I'm a junior at Columbus State University, and I'm trying to major in performance. But, yeah.
And they were sort of ambushed. They were invited out to a party, and when they got here, they were microphones.
And they're like,
Surprise! Cake? Sure, y'all be
Yeah.
there for cake.
So how many followers do you have on your podcast?
Gosh, we're gonna come close to 10,000 downloads soon, and I would say that I know that there are 80 people who actively follow and subscribe to the blog. So
Is that 80,000 a day?
no. There's no.
We wish.
We wish.
Yeah.
No, I know.
In our first year, we have accumulated 10,000 overall.
Yeah, downloads. Yeah. That would be nice for that many. One day, perhaps.
Okay, so is it on iTunes? Or-
Yeah, we're on iTunes.
Okay.
We're
What's the name of the podcast?
It's called ArTechnik. ARTECH.
right there on our cake.
Yeah.
Most of it.
If you check out the cake we brought, please grab a slice.
Okay.
We were actually releasing our new logo today.
It's true. Yeah, we
Yeah.
have this new logo.
Well, okay, so you're gonna download it.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. Well, it was great talking to you.
We'll
Yeah.
get back to it.
Yeah.
Well, thanks.
Thanks for stopping by.
We'll let
Come back
somebody,
again.
other party guests shuffle in over this side for a bit. Thank you.
Right.
All right. So
Yeah.
first, yeah. And so it's going to be, and for those that maybe have never listened to the podcast before, and this is the first one you decided
It's an
to
interesting
start with, it's an interesting choice, and so that's what it's going to be a lot of today, just kind of casual drop-in and discussions. Just really an expansion of what we normally do, just random sort of, we chase rabbits and have conversations about stuff.
All of the Epiversaries are slightly off our normal
That is
episode.
true, yeah.
So everything that's not edited out. pretty
Huh?
much. Everything that's not going to be edited out.
We kind of went to that almost immediately within the first 2 or 3 months. And there was more editing, I think, in the beginning, only because the technology kept shutting down on us. We had no conversation.
And it's before you met me, so it's hard to even.
We
But
can't.
Adam was in the room.
I was
in the room.
I
Adam
was
was
in
Go
the
ahead and introduce yourself.
Oh, I guess.
Yeah,
Maybe
leave it a little
stick
bit.
it in a little bit. I mean, it's pretty good. It picks up the voices. But
Yeah.
yeah.
A little
I
closer.
won't say
Thanks, you
too
can
much,
hear.
because I don't want to mess anything up.
No, but
I always-
that's something we've discovered that we have in common. Is,
Right, that we,
yeah, Sarah, who's speaking right now. Well, she
Hello.
was. I'm Adam. I'm talking now.
yeah, but I know you're speaking, and
But
now I
you're
know,
speaking,
because I'm
now
the
that-
female at the table.
Yeah.
Or so they think.
That's right. We have another mystery to reveal today.
Like reverse cowbreak.
But no, it's my superpower or my uncanny. I feel like I'm part of the X-Men group, and that and my power is that I disrupt technology because I emit electromagnetism.
I like you refer to them as the X-Men group like they're an investment.
The X-Men.
Publicly backed.
I invest.
It supports NPR.
You know they do.
Yeah, that's something. Yeah, Sarah and I have that in common. That technology, and for people that listen to the show know, that things happen. Like I remember growing up, I would walk around radios, and radios would start going all static.
Yep, and it still happens to me.
Yeah.
The radio in my bedroom, if I get too close to it, it's all.
Yeah. It crinkles
turn
out.
off straight
Now Jeff can sit next to it,
Yeah.
and it's fine. I do that too.
In
The
fact,
street lights, they always.
People call me just to sit by their technology and watch
That's the
it.
only reason I'm dating it, so I can just
That's true. Yeah, speaking of, Cameron Bean just called me twice to ask about helping me fix his iPod. No, not to date me that I'm aware of, but if he shows up with flowers, there might be a fight. To help fix his iPod, and so I told him we'd talk about it when he got here. Speaking of.
As part of the episode.
Yeah.
A live
Yeah.
Medcast Safe Help
That's
Line.
fantastic.
I do wonder what would happen if Adam and I sat on one side of the.
Oh,
that's
Let's not
dangerous.
tempt the
I'm
fates
just
today.
saying.
We'll use the
I'm watching
wood.
that record light so far.
We'll use the wood as a grounding agent between you
Yeah,
to
fantastic.
take the energies out of the air.
But like every time like I audition, if I have to send an audition tape in or whatever, generally I'll do like my most amazing work, and then just put a hey baby, don't get upset, but the camera shut off, or hey baby, don't get upset, the microphone shut off, or hey baby, the battery died, we gotta wait. And I'll be doing it'll be like the shot, it'll be
Right.
the shot.
Well, that's what happened to us the other week. I was helping Jeff with an audition, and the same
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
It was like it was the perfect take, and the camera died.
I still have to make your ringtone.
Oh, that's right.
Adam was doing this audition with me in the background. He's going, woohoo, woohoo, yahoo! And I'm like, that's gonna be your ringtone.
That's fantastic.
Something will come of that. Download the Adam on that ringtone.
It's free. It's free. Like me.
But seriously, while we're talking downloads, do you know that it costs $20 a month in bandwidth to keep the show going? And do you know that you could sponsor the show for $5 and that would pay for a week, a whole episode, one week of the show? That's it. That's my whole pleasure. I'm done.
Just dollars a day. We.
Go ahead.
Kind of
Try to
reminds
spin
me of
something useful out of that.
No, I can't. I was just gonna say, yeah, it sounds very much like those little NPR station breaks when they're in a pledge drive.
Everyone's having a good time, and he would like to keep watching something.
But at least you know that like your money is going straight to the production. It's not getting like divvied up between like.
That's right. We're not wasting it on
No,
any.
we would never spend your money.
Yeah,
in
not
our-
like. We're not wasteful with our money like public radio, the children's television workshop, just throwing money around.
Whatever.
Trying to think of some interesting tech stories I stumbled across this week.
Tech stories.
There were a lot.
I didn't even do any research. This
I
is
did a little
just
bit. I
came
guess
to
I
the
can
party.
refer to my phone real quick.
Oh no, I do have some.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
I don't know what they are.
No, I can talk about my week while we're waiting.
Talk about it, Jeff.
All right,
I'd like to
I'll
talk
talk
about
about
what you've been doing.
All right. What happened this week? This week I had a bunch of auditions, some of which actually happened, some of which didn't. I had a couple of take auditions in Atlanta, and then my Orlando agent called out of nowhere, and so I sent her in a take audition. And then maybe it wasn't good enough because she sent me another audition and she was like, if you could just come on down here to Orlando, it's like a 7-hour drive, but if you could just come on down here and do this audition and go back. And I was like, well, can I tape it? And they're like, can't tape it this time. I'm like, okay, never mind.
Did that agent in Atlanta, Orlando, which you worked in Orlando?
Did you know that I used to work at the Orlando Repertory?
Whoa.
That's right.
Who did you?
In partnership with UCF.
Yeah. Just every time you talk about that particular agent, you grab your imaginary stogie.
Yes. Jeff has an imaginary soaking problem. He's had it for years.
Yeah, he has a problem because if you look, he puts both fingers together. He does not respect the shape of
It's
the cigar.
clearly a cigar pantomime,
Right.
but at best with a cigarette gap left side
My
fingers.
impression.
But I feel like it's gotten worse since you weaned yourself off of caffeine. So now your imaginary soaking habit has really got
Yeah.
that.
I did just thank the owner.
It was really just, it was really just an imaginary oral fixation. So.
That's not
Just
imaginary.
Well, I don't think I can.
Oh.
Kids haven't arrived yet.
Not yet.
Not
They
yet.
will soon. I found an article this week that kind of refers back to something we were discussing a couple weeks ago, or at least I was throwing out there and just watching your reactions to it about
Right.
trepidation, drilling the holes in your head.
Trichinosis.
No.
Trepidation.
Trepidation, drilling the holes into your head. I researched something when I'm now explaining to the people in the room that were maybe not part of the conversation. When I was in high school, I still chasing rabbits, and there was this technique that I came across called trepanation, and it was something that sort of para-scientists or crackpots, as they're sometimes called, do. And what they do is they drill tiny little holes into their head, and then eventually, like, it scars and heals over so that you have nothing separating your brain from the oxygen in the air environment except a thin little sheet of skin. And the idea is that it super saturates the brain, and you think smarter. And, some people, like, you're developing psychic telekinetic abilities, blah 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 blah. And there is legitimacy behind this practice for people that have, like, brain injuries and stuff like that. But if you don't have a brain injury, you should not be drilling holes in your head. However, when I was in high school, I was like, this sounds like a good idea. I want to be smarter, or, have X-Men group-like properties. And so,
Savvy investment
A
hours.
well-rounded portfolio.
so I looked into it. I never actually drilled any holes into my head.
That we found.
Fortunately, I had no friends crazy enough that would support me in this endeavor, thank God.
It's a good thing you haven't met us yet.
It's true. I could imagine you guys standing over me with, like, a DeWalt and, like,
All I can afford is a Makita.
oh, battery drains so fast, we never get through the first layer. But I found this article this week about actually zapping your brain to stimulate creativity. And they've done some tests where they put one of those transdermal little electrical things, which a lot of times it's a treatment for people with seizures and things like that, but they're expanding to see if this device can be used for other applications besides this. And so what they were doing is they were wiring these zappers basically to the left side of the prefrontal cortex, and that if you zap it, it will lessen the sort of creative barrier. The idea is if you get all the sort of clutter in your brain and when you're trying to solve a problem or something, and this will overstimulate the area so that it will actually kind of relax and allow more creative flow to happen. And they tested this on people. And they found that people that had this electro-stimulation of the left side of their prefrontal cortex were more creative in problem-solving tests that they put them through and stuff like that. So there is legitimacy
Okay, so
out there.
I have got
Yeah.
one of the birthday party kits this week. I got a birthday party for Big Fingers.
Does it have the transdermal electro?
It has a Tesla coil.
Nice.
Oh, man.
Tesla for grab metals. So we could just zap that at the front left part of your brain and see what happens.
Now, is it,
A little bit closer.
Sorry, okay.
Squish it when you do that.
Yeah.
Hey,
It's Nathan.
hey, so, like, I'm left-handed.
Yeah.
So does that mean
I'm
I
sorry.
use the, I'm gonna die at least 10 years sooner than everyone in this room, so.
Careful, that's on the table.
Oh, yeah.
Even with your left hand.
Anyways, so does that mean I use the left part of my brain?
What? No,
Am I more creative than
The
anyone
charts
here?
I've always seen is that the left side of the body is more dominantly controlled by the right side of the brain.
yes.
Because the nerves
Okay.
actually
Well, the right
crisscross.
side, isn't the right side creative, left side logistical? A brain?
Generally speaking, yes, that is true. But both sides of the brain do share some of the activity. But I would be interested, if you are left-handed, then I would maybe hypothesize that if the left side of your body is the dominant side, that means the right side is more in control, which leaves the left side of your brain more free to be creative.
That makes a lot of
Ah,
sense.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
so
I'm not a scientist.
then why does it make
What?
it creative?
What? Well, you were his teacher. You tell us.
Whoa.
Come on now. That's
I
right.
had a really bad teacher.
There we go. Fair. Yeah.
is very creative.
He is
I'm giving him a
fantastic.
hard time.
I saw you in Amadeus.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I did not.
No, wait, did you see me or did you see the wig? That's what.
Hey! Jim Barr has just walked through the door.
Everyone clap.
Does the slow clap ever speed up? What's the rule? Actually, it just,
I don't really know.
it just sounds like our podcast is shorting out right now.
Jim, there's cake.
Maybe it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, are you
Please
guys
don't
actually
say
gonna
that.
cut this
Yeah,
cake, or are you guys just gonna like hang around the microphone and not eat the
Well,
cake?
we've taken lots of pictures of it, so if anybody
Yeah.
wants to start eating
We're
the
ready
cake, please.
All right, we're gonna do the cake.
Yeah.
Yay!
Cut the cake. Hey, while we're cutting the cake, Jim,
While we're cutting, yeah, Jim, how about
let's go ahead and sit down. For those who listen to the podcast on a regular basis, you remember Jim Parr. He was an interview for us, gosh, was it 2 months ago, 3 months ago?
Yeah, it was one of the first one.
You were our
Fresh.
very first
Yes.
interview, so thank you for that.
Of course.
This is the part where they messed up the
So, Jim,
frosting.
what have you
Oh,
been
that's
up to
just my
since,
wrist.
that-
And they just tried to paint it on with
Terrible.
frosting
No,
instead of the photo frosting.
Really busy.
Well, it's not gonna go on my belly soon, so.
No, it seems about right to have one little corner of the thing, but not quite right.
But we just actually started something that we're calling Magical March, which is our homeschool week or month.
The week of March.
Yeah.
All week.
But it's specifically designed for homeschool kids, so they can kind of expand their curriculum. And we did. They saw yesterday and today last Friday.
Which was fantastic.
Right.
I absolutely hate that the people that are listening to this, it's
Can't
our
see
first
it.
mention of it.
Yeah.
But seek it out. Yesterday and today, it's three brothers, and they have learned, with a band backing them up, have learned all 253.
Yeah, the 227.
227.
Yeah.
I think Cameron said that number just pretty much, so that's why I quoted that one. Anything Cameron says is gospel,
Right.
as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. And so, anyway, they've learned all the Beatles songs, and they take requests, and so the set list changes every night,
Yeah.
depending upon what songs the audience has picked, and they explain why
Yeah.
they want them.
Well, and we share something in common. We both got them to play songs they've never played before.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, when I went on Thursday night, I got them to play Old Brown Shoe. Old Brown Shoe, which is an obscure B-side song from, I think it was the
Some 45 Scooter told me.
yeah. It wasn't, I think, part of a wide release. It
Yeah.
didn't get a lot of play, in fact, until the when they did that Greatest Hits album in the
Right.
90s sometime. But George Harrison actually wrote it, and it's just this brilliant little, it kind of has an old-timey jazz feel
Yeah.
to it. But the reason I picked it is because I remember my dad singing part of the chorus to me.
Yeah.
Because it kind of has a little bit of a rhyme sort of thing to it. Yeah, remember my dad
Yeah.
singing Old Brown Shoe.
Well, I got him to play Please Mr. Postman. I lied and said that I had told him I was conceived, quote unquote conceived for that song. Is what my parents said. I was trying to infer that like I was the postman's kid, probably.
Yeah.
But he made a joke at the end. He was like, just putting it out there, that song clock said it 1 minute 45 seconds.
What was a speedy delivery?
Exactly. But yeah, so the homeschool kids saw that show last Friday. And then this Friday we started 3 class series, acting class, improv class, and musical theater. So they're coming basically to a fall session that's cut in half of what we do at the academy. But it's really nice. They're way more attentive than public school kids by a huge percentage. It's amazing. And like even the little kids, like the 5-year-olds are like, yes, please teach us.
And they ask the best, most focused questions, you know, because that's what their whole learning model is
Yeah.
based on. You just take an idea, some subject area, and ask questions about it.
I had a student the other day. I was doing our Air Up There show for the science presentation, and it was for this Cub Scout crossover ceremony. So it was all the Cub Scouts there to celebrate the Weebelows becoming full-fledged Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
And I was the entertainment for the evening before the big ceremony. And I'm doing one of the experiments, and I start out my explanation spiel, and I'm like, so there was this scientist named Bernoulli, and this little tiger cub, which is the first grade.
Yeah.
Because this little tiger cub, just without any further prompting, goes, Bernoulli's principle. And I sort of pause and look over, like, you you know Bernoulli's principle? And he was like, well, and then he explained it to me, and I can't even paraphrase, because he explained it like a first grader would explain anything, with the ums and the backups and the hems and the haws and the whatever. But at its base was scientifically sound explanation of the Bernoulli principle.
And there did he win.
And so I was like, that's you get a pencil! Because I've got pencils that, every time one of the kids comes up and does an experiment with me as my volunteer, as their take home, they get a little pencil covering, like, I love science, and microscopes and things.
Covered in I love science.
Covered in I love science. And so I gave him a pencil, even though I was like, so I gave the two kids who were actually up there for the experiment their pencils, and I was like, and this, ladies and gentlemen, is for my tiger cub who knows what Bernoulli's principle is. And everybody gave him a nice little round. But I was just like absolutely floored that this first grader knew it by name and definition.
Yeah.
There's actually a badge that you learn about, like how airplanes fly and everything, because the way I learned about Bernoulli's principle was actually also in Cub Scouts. I was in Cub Scouts for 1 year, and that was one of the badges.
Bernoulli principle year.
Yeah. It was very big, 1986. Everybody was learning about Bernoulli's principle.
For those that don't know, Bernoulli's principle is that fast-moving air takes with it slow-moving air and other objects.
So, Jim, we are celebrating our 1-year anniversary, our 50th Epiversary.
Yes.
You are also celebrating something today. What are you celebrating?
I'm celebrating
No, it's the
3-year anniversary with my girlfriend Jessica.
Hooray.
Yes.
And Jessica shouldn't be here with us today because she's at a
Q2Q.
live theater.
Yeah, but we're gonna get together and have some sushi, which is kind of like our thing.
Fantastic. That sounds great.
Where's your sushi? Where's the place you go?
Well, I'm probably going to get it from Fresh Market today.
Okay.
That's where I got my sushi yesterday. It's fantastic.
I got the pirate slice of the cake because I just got the R.
It says RINT. It has the little intersection.
It's the Rent.
Cheap knockoff of Brent. So, Jim, do you have any questions for us? We'd love to be interviewed by past guests.
I actually do have I can come up with some good questions actually.
He knows us enough to actually back us into dangerous questions.
So listen, how do you think you guys have changed?
Oh, I thought you were going to say, how do you think y'all are doing?
How do you think you guys?
Good job.
What would you say you do?
I think you guys have changed, very markedly changed from the beginning to now. But I want to see how you guys think you changed. And then I'll give you mine.
Okay, I can only respond in terms of what I remember, sort of anecdotally from all of the interviews, because I have never gone back and listened to.
Really?
I have never. But I do have a little bit of a perspective of how we've changed, maybe in terms of style. And actually, one of the guests, Miranda, who's going to be here in a little while, she has just recently started listening to the podcast. And so she was pointing out a lot of things from the beginning that she said she could hear the nervousness in my voice, which I clearly remember from the first 3 episodes where I was scared to just breathe into the mic. Because I felt like all I could hear was
we all learned mic skills sort of live and on the fly.
And so I would say I know I've definitely loosened up. And I think when we started, we definitely had a more formulaic structure in terms of how we presented the articles, but since then we've loosened up a little bit. It makes it a little bit more casual and conversational. And the one thing that I've slowly embraced over the last year, and this is advice from Jeff, is that, you know what, because I had this, hey, come on in, Hank. Yeah. Hey, Hank, we've got cake. Hey! Yeah. And so, in fact, Miranda, who I was just talking about, just walked into the room with me. And so, Jeff always said, because I always felt like I had to do prepare and research, and like I felt such a responsibility to bring truth to that. And in a way, I still do. I still research heavily and take, but Jeff has said something to the effect of, it's the internet. It's the internet.
We made a decision early on as a group that we could stop saying, no, this is just my opinion, or this is what I think. We were like, you know what? This is the internet.
The internet is 89% opinion anyway.
Everybody
That's your
assumes,
opinion.
no matter how, if we could research this and be an expert on our topic, and the internet is going to assume we're making it up as we go along.
Yeah.
So we got over that fear of having to justify and excuse ourselves. Now this is just my opinion. Now this is just what I think.
Correct. We don't qualify that quite as much.
Because you know it's our opinion.
I
We're
think,
talking.
sure, you're listening for our opinion.
Exactly.
Duh. Yeah.
Yeah, I would completely agree with all of that stuff.
I also think we, in general, and we'll totally miss the ball occasionally, but we've gotten better at picking articles or topics that are better at inspiring conversation than here is an article and this is what I think about
That is
it.
a big
And
change.
Yeah.
your turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was what I was gonna say. You guys almost are inside each other's heads now. You're like, you don't really talk about what you're gonna.
We
you
very
come up
carefully not talk about
Okay,
the
good.
show before
Yeah,
we
yeah.
get on the air.
But it's almost eerie how things just lead into each other.
They
now.
connect
They
so
automatically.
well.
And it's terrible if you fight that process.
Yeah, talk about that, Jeff.
Yeah, I'll move it. So,
Here, come over here.
if, okay, I'll
Yeah,
put
you gotta get close on this
over
one.
there. Oh, okay. That's right, close up.
That's right.
So I remember it was a big change when we figured out that it was important to just sometimes take the opposing view, right? Or for everyone to at least have a point of view.
Yeah.
And to go with the flow like you're talking about, because there was one day I do all my notes in Evernote and I pull them up on the screen, and there was a thing that I wanted to talk about that I didn't feel like we had time for. That was a thing that I was like, maybe it's like a whole.
I remember this episode. I wrote it up to him specifically.
And we're talking, and I was like, and Adam was like trying to build some sets because he read
I
my
could
notes.
see what his article was.
Yeah.
And sometimes I like want to really keep my notes like secret. Like I really want to like keep everything close to the vest because I want to have the option to not talk about anything.
But the problem is when you don't want to talk about something, you go, oh, this is the thing that I'm totally not going to talk about, but maybe I will someday.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm trying to build suspense.
For what?
I don't know. We have to function on the belief that every episode might be our last.
That's true. That's true. The first one was almost the last because it would record that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were taking a break like every 5 minutes. Like,
And then we tried the GarageBand multi.
It almost
That was another
worked.
thing I was gonna say is you guys have figured out how to record the podcast.
Oh.
Not only
yeah.
in the live, but also like engineering it, figuring out how to make it sound
Yeah.
good. Who needs what microphone?
Jeff, understands at least 5 different ways that we can set up.
Like there's our road setup,
Yeah.
which is sort of what we got here.
We could do less than this, but I like this.
It looks cool. It makes for good pictures.
Since we had video evidence of this one, so we were like, we have to have real microphones.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it sounds better when you've got, a mic dedicated to a couple of people as we can. But the thing for me was to stop trying to get the software and the hardware to do all the work. Like, no matter how fast your computer is, if you're doing the thing where you've got all these mics set up like we do, which is crazy because we use all this USB stuff instead of XLR, and for some of you, Anderson Bishop, that would mean something.
But the last 3 times we said somebody's name, they turned the corner within 2 minutes. So
That's
we'll
true.
see.
He's not coming.
He's got a tech.
Oh,
man,
Cotton patch.
No, I can't berate him for not coming.
Yeah,
Well, we
Oh,
can, but it's just
All right.
that much more.
He
Maybe
didn't
you
want
should be
to.
here.
He did want to come.
Did
He
he?
really did because originally I was talking to him on Thursday. And
He
forgot
really
it was
wanted to
Thursday. No, he was planning to come. He was like, I could be there for like from 2 to 3 because I've got this meeting from 1 to 2. And then I realized he was talking about Friday and not Saturday. 'Cause I thought the next day was Saturday,
right.
and then I had to. Yeah, it was bad.
Get to watch his heart break right there.
Right.
Oh.
But that's what I do.
But to round
Set
out,
him up and knock him down.
what Jim was talking about, okay, so I know a million ways to set the show now, which is great. I made a whole bunch of mistakes. I'm actually like filing these mistakes away now. I'm working on a book. And I'm excited about it. I'm really excited about it
I'm
because
surprised you actually announced that on the podcast.
I shouldn't. Well, I'm not gonna say the title of anything.
See, he's doing that thing
But
with
that's fine.
thinking
No,
of
I
history and
understand.
not.
I understand
Well,
not
I'm
announcing
working
the
on a book
title.
that may or may not ever select me. Okay, because there are other books on how to podcast out there. God knows we need another book.
But we need better ones.
But we need one from the perspective of look, I made a bunch of mistakes. I don't want them to just sit in the drawer and not get used. Because if you're someone else who like really wants to do a show and you're sitting down in town and you've got like a Best Buy and an Amazon account or something,
It can be done.
It can be
But
done.
you need to have a little bit of a ground plan laid out.
Yeah. And to bring this full circle back to what Jim was talking about, the biggest thing that I have learned is that no matter what your setup is, how good or how bad it is, the content is like the most important content. Sorry to use that. Stupid word. Sorry to use that word. But what you got to say is way more important than the technology. Although I do think the show should sound good, and having a point of view is very important and stuff. So that's the biggest thing.
Now you're sharp.
Is to be yourself, to be an interesting version of yourself.
The internet version of it.
Yeah.
So how have you watched us change over the course
Well,
of the year?
I would completely agree. You guys brought up a lot of things that I would so get out of my head. But
You're one of us now.
no, yeah, I think I really have seen you guys have your strong voices come out. You all have your own unique things now. Like he said, he's very factual. You come with the scientific side, and Jeff is obviously the wild card.
Wow. Oh, is that my? I wasn't sure what my role was. Now I know.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
But yeah, it's nice to see, because at the beginning everybody was kind of like the same. You were all very.
We like technology.
Exactly. This is
Do you agree?
together.
Yes, excellent.
And now there is opposition every once in a while. There is conflicting ideas.
I think for me it was fairly early. We did the Is Sports Art episode, and I sort of became this provocateur between the two of you, and I realized that my role that day was to just challenge you every time you came to a conclusion. And you sort of get to one point, and I would figure out, oh, this is the exact right question to make him doubt everything you just said.
Yeah.
And I was like, I love this role. And when I can hit that role, and I can some episode, I love finding that question where you get to this really confident point, and then we knock everything down and have to start reanalyzing everything we've just discussed.
Yeah.
And I know this is all very inside baseball with the show right now.
But it's our anniversary, we're allowed to.
And it reminds me of, there was one day on the show where I felt like I got a little personal or whatever, and I asked, there was some other reason I wanted Topher to listen to the show, and I said, yeah, you should listen to the show or whatever. And Topher texted me, and he said, I never ever want you to hear you say, I'm sorry to get personal on a podcast again. He says, because personal is interesting, you dummy.
Yeah, that's another thing I was going to bring up, is you guys have figured out how to make, not that it wasn't interesting, because it always is, especially with people like me, but that you have figured out how to make it baseline interesting. Like you can have it upon this and be like, not, oh, they're just talking about, technology and stuff. Like it's actually interesting.
Circuit board.
Right, you figured out the right things to talk about. The right topics to talk about. Yeah.
And if you believe that Jim is wrong, please send an email to ArTechnikPodcast.com. Subject line, talk about this.
Sherman said, if you believe Jim is right, please donate $5.
And if you believe Jim is right, then you can sponsor this show for $5 for a week of the show. There you go. Yeah.
What is it? Amazon.com/
Just go to ArTechnik Podcast.
Every time we have tried to explain the Amazon stuff on air, we get about halfway through.
So bad.
It's so complicated.
I'm so bad at Amazon affiliates. I think I figured it out now.
Well, they really do need to make
Yeah.
Amazon with your billion-dollar successful business model. Here's how you need to
Listen
fix
to
it.
us.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, if they had a way where at the very end you could buy whatever you wanted, and at the end you put in our code in like the gift certificate promotional code box, and it suddenly clicked that entire order into our associate account, that would be a functional, usable, successful model.
But instead, it's this weird thing where you have to trick that into happening, where we've got to, trick is the wrong word, but basically the way it works now is we've got to say, we've got to put some kind of link on our site that says, toasters or whatever.
Yeah.
And you click on the toasters link just to get you to the Amazon store. Now, you just clicking the link is good because it lets us know that people are clicking the links. It doesn't earn us any money. But you get suddenly you're in the Amazon store, and it's supposed to work that anything you buy, just like Aaron says, except without having to enter the code's already supposed to be there. You check out and it's done. But somewhere along the way, Amazon always drops the code.
Right, because it's got to be stuff like if we were a shop,
Right.
if we specifically sold these 6 things and we had the Amazon version of them, then you can buy them straight from our website. But we are this sort of charity organization almost. I mean, it's a business charity, but the way we function in that regard is sort of this charity setup.
And we're giving you stuff for free. Happily.
And so, and it costs them a little bit, but not much. And the friends I know that would suddenly think to shop, oh, hey, if I put in the code, they're already Amazon shoppers. Right. They're already going to be spending money, which is the problem, really. Is Amazon doesn't want to give us money for their existing customers. They want the incoming money. And I get that, but at the same time...
Yeah, because I've had people be like, I tried to do it, and this happened, or like, I just watched,
or I don't think about it until the end of
the window. We do have our Square readers and our PayPal readers.
You're welcome to just hand this money. You don't have to go through some convoluted...
That's true.
Way.
That's true.
We'll take it just in the mail, leave it on the doorstep, email to our accounts.
It's not like we're like, oh, please give us money because we're so desperate. But it is. It's really just covering. It's really just covering the bandwidth cost of the show and what it costs to keep it going every month. And
Sure.
I'm happy to pay. I want the show to keep going, but it would be nice if the show became cost neutral.
Right.
I'm not asking for profit. I'm asking for cost neutral.
Well, that would be a nice place. What was his name? The Beast.
Hank McCoy.
Yeah.
Oh, from the X-Men group.
The X-Men insurance group. No, the Daily Beast. Andrew Sullivan, who he had a blog as part of one of the major corporations and was a paid published writer for them. And he decided that his audience base had reached a level that was self-sustainable.
Yeah.
And so he cut his professional contract with the group that had been supporting him and made his blog member-subscribed, basically. And he had a strong enough reader base that a totally voluntary membership system is now able to sustain him, and that is now his job. And so, if we can create...
Oh, I can creep. Speak of my language now.
If we can keep the audience base at a point that, people were willing, $5 a year, our listener base,
Well, I already thought about doing that. I actually have, I have shared this with you guys, but I have a whole PayPal thing set up ready to go now that I just never put live on the site for subscriptions, essentially.
But a voluntary subscription.
Voluntary subscription.
You can listen for
the
free.
show is free. The show goes free. But I was thinking of making a secret pod club where you know what I mean?
With a decoder ring.
Yeah, minimum $5.
Secret rewind messages at the end of the podcast.
Yeah, just like Aaron saying,
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
Exactly. It's something really fun, like minimum $5, whatever. You chip in, and all you do is contribute something, and we'll send you cool stuff like secret newsletters and
That's cool.
episodes, because I got the website set up now where if I wanted to, all I got to do is switch it from this on. We have members only episodes where you put in a little stuff, and there's all this neat extra stuff. I don't know if anyone actually wants it.
Sure.
I'm here.
He'd actually, especially if it was the only one with a decoder ring, Jim would be
I'm
much
totally
more excited
excited.
about it. No, that's how the Society to Make a Fool Out of Aaron, which is the blog big group basically I created it for the fact I'm going off to school in Italy in the fall. Did we just split out?
We did.
But okay, we're still going?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, looks like
Jeff,
we're
check us
still
in.
recording.
Okay. Sound just changed substantially inside the headset.
I don't think that mic's working.
Oh, okay. Well, we're going to pause.
All of the wooing.
Well, we're going to pause. Hello, live people.
Because I sat next to him.
I'm going to get cake.
Let me have the headline. Then we'll pick up the Society for
It's good cake. No one else is
Yeah, I
eating
think
cake.
everything's
Eat
fine.
cake. It's really
We
good.
don't want to take
I'm the only person who's eaten cake.
Also,
What did you say?
no,
What?
that's the
Oh.
It's okay. It's just that I'm running on yours.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know.
Did you have us anything up?
You make your own pizza.
Yeah, we're back. We're good.
Oh, it's like a pizza
We're
mode?
good.
Yeah, or pizza Subway.
I'm gonna
Except
start
Subway has
walking.
pizza.
So we're back after a quick feedback break, and we're gonna come back to Aaron's story in just a second. But while we're here, I want to drop in a couple of the audio messages that we've got. We've had people send in some sound files, people who are not able to be here, and so we're going to take a minute and we are going to listen to those. So enjoy.
Yay!
Woo! And we're back. That's what I'm going to put in later.
We're just gonna refer to that little tech moment as a nostalgia moment, a throwback to our first
We actually
podcast.
staged it just so it would be like our first week of episode. Oh, we have to do the awkward laugh.
We should. We've
All
got
right,
a
the
laugh
laugh
coming
coming
back.
back. We got set up.
One.
Okay. Try to make a lot of it.
Bad times. So I'm going away to school this fall for a physical theater program, Commedia based. So I decided that really what I was trying to do is go and make myself a complete and utter fool. So I decided that I would form the secret society, the Society to Make a Fool Out of Aaron. And my friends were far too eager, perhaps, to jump into the Society to Make a Fool Out of Aaron. I've been very glad of it since then. But the idea is that the basic society, I mean, just to actually, keep up with my blog posts and stuff, if you're interested in what I'm doing while I'm over there, and the trials and tribulations of getting into the school and packing my life up to go away for 2 years and things like that. But one of the early posts I got was somebody was like, "Hey, where's the donate button?" And I was like, "Well, I didn't think anybody would want to hand me money." And they totally shouldn't, but I'm not going to stop them. So I made a page for the Society to Make a Fool Out of Aaron that has a PayPal donate button. And there's like disclaimers all over the page. It's like, this is not government charity. You will not get a tax break. Nobody should pay for me to go to school, but I am not going to stop you.
You won't get you don't get a deduction, but you could do it as a gift.
No, well, there
It's a
you
large
go.
enough, it's a large enough chunk to be worthwhile. then
This
do it
financial
as a-
advice brought to you by the ex-veteran. So yes, if you want to give me a couple $1,000s and write it off as a gift, go for it.
Yeah.
Adam will explain how to put that into your taxes.
I will. I have learned how to bend all of those Earth's rules.
First?
Earth's.
Oh, I see. IRS.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But
I thought he said Earth.
so there's
There'll be a glossary for others later on.
so I've set the donations up as paying your dues to be a full-fledged member of the Society of Fools. And one of the things is you get a decoder ring and you get the secret handshake. There are already secret codes on the Facebook page because I figured it was no good of a secret society if there were not secret codes to crack, especially an Italian secret society. I've got to find a painting of Michelangelo to find a code in somewhere.
Was the one that I figured out, was that the first code?
That was
Or
the
the-
first game code. There were a couple
game.
codes like in the info of the group itself,
Okay.
but I posted one which was based on the Dancing Men from the Sherlock Holmes series, and Adam was the first person to crack the code.
It was, I stumbled across it one day. I think it was like the first thing in my newsfeed of me and my little nephew Tyler. This was when I was up in Virginia over Christmas break, and I found it. I was like, ooh, a cryptogram. I'm terrible at those. And so I've never bothered to solve one ever. But he and I sat there for like an hour and a half, and it was really funny because it took a while to figure out like what the cipher was and what was going on, and like I had no way to. What was I explaining to you? It was like I had to write it down on a sheet of paper.
Well, there weren't
Because-
spaces in between any of the letters.
Oh,
There was-
right.
Part of the code was figuring out where the words
The breaks
stopped.
were. Yeah. And so it was just really funny. He did help. He figured out some letters to plug in, and we tried them, and they worked.
Nice.
So yeah, he's 7.
Young nephews, cousins, and listeners. Miranda, Hank, why don't you come over and
Yay!
Surprise!
Yay, hey!
I owe apologies to Miranda and Hank because as they were ordering their food and beverage, she said, "Oh, I'm gonna go upstairs and we're gonna wait on it." And I was like, I was just trying to warn her. It's like, oh well, we've got the room booked upstairs. But they came out like, we've got the room booked upstairs. And then she just looks so sweet. Looks at me and goes, I know. We're coming up to your party.
Cool beans. So, hey,
That's kind of welcome.
thank you. And again, Miranda had to drive from out of town. Y'all are about an hour and a half away from where we're actually
Wow.
hosting this thing. So,
Just
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
Yay!
little guy sitting in your lap.
Can you tell everybody your name?
Hey, Hank. So, Hank, you were talking to me earlier. I heard that you like Mario. You like Mario? What is your favorite Mario game to play?
Mine. Oh, we're the bad guys.
Uh-huh. Who are the little bad guys? Are those the little turtle guys?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The Goombas, little brown Goombas.
Mushrooms, cool. Who do you like playing better as? Do you like playing as Mario or as Luigi?
It's Mario and Luigi. There's one Mario.
Oh, right.
Oh.
Totally, yeah. You know, looking at Jeff and I right now, we kind of look like Mario and Luigi.
You're actually wearing green today on top of everything.
I am. Hey, I'm Luigi.
Let me tell you how much I love it when you make that comparison.
Can y'all
No, I
do
don't.
a special video game Stash and Shade song where you come fully dressed as Mario?
Ooh, yes,
Good
Aaron.
idea. All right. Thank you, Aaron.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Aaron.
GM, trademark. Cool beans. So, Miranda, you have just recently started listening to the episode, and so, what do you think so far? And we totally understand those first couple of ones, the first 2 months.
We need to just put together, please. Like, start at like number 10.
Yeah,
Another 9.
No, they can't start at 10.
Can't start at 10.
they can't start at 10. There's the special thing on 10.
They're very difficult to hear.
But that's a better
That's
phrase
so
than
much
telling us they're very difficult to listen to.
Yeah.
Like I'm screaming, reaching for the dial. Pause.
Kick off.
And I've been listening to them while I've been working out, so I'm really not but it's not your fault that you're working out.
Thank you for associating those two things together. A podcast is something you hate.
How about a nice relaxing bath next time?
You're my mellifluous tones as you
That's okay.
unwind in a
I got a
pot of
review.
bubbles.
I got a review on Amazon once for a comic I wrote, and the review said, "Where's the story?" I can take it.
So, Miranda, what is it that you do when you are not talking to us here on this podcast?
Well, I have a very strange job. Well, I have two very strange jobs.
Yeah.
Have you told anyone what I do?
I have never told them what you do. I might have.
Are you a spy? What the hell?
Yes, I'm ashamed of you and our friendship. No. I may have spoken of it once, but they obviously don't remember. So.
Okay, well, my first job, I worked for a testing center evaluating medical students on their English skills, bedside manner, things like that. So the way I describe it is I play sick for a living. And then my other job is teaching breast and pelvic exams to medical students.
Wow.
And when I say teaching breast and pelvic exams, I mean teaching.
Everyone's got to start somewhere.
It is a very strange job, but it's extremely rewarding.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Cool. Hey, one thing that I always loved about our arrangement that we used to get to see each other every year was always because you would come down with your husband, Justin Stevens, who I went to CSU with, and he would come down for Georgia Thespian Conference, and then you would get to help me costume my spring show, and I miss that. I miss us walking through Sandy Dawson's costume stock and playing dressed up.
Well, and I had my younger son Thomas in a baby Bjorn, and he was also picking out costumes.
That's right.
So I had to make sure he wasn't throwing up on costumes.
That's right. Whatever he drooled on, we kept.
Like, guess
That was
what?
the mark of
This is going
approval.
to Toby's show.
And Thomas brought up Gin.
Yes, he threw up at the baby
Gin.
My aunt does standardized patient things up in Virginia. She also does this like CEO training, like office training sort of thing. And she specializes in. She is the sweet older lady who's been working at the company forever. And she's the one who plans the birthday parties, and everybody loves her, and she's been so proud of the work she's been doing, but apparently it's been absolutely subpar, ineffectual work, and the boss has to fire her.
Yikes.
And that's her specialty. She goes in and they have to fire her, and she's
Oh.
this super, super sweet little lady, and she has absolutely no idea it's coming, and they have to fire her, and then she bursts into tears.
That's
and
awesome.
And that is her job.
That's
That is her
awesome.
standardized for employee training. I don't know what she specializes in. I know that she's frequently the mom who is getting news about one of her kids from the doctors.
Oh.
And so when anytime a sweet older lady to cry for them and make the new doctors and new bosses feel really horrible about themselves, they call my Aunt Jody in.
Is that your aunt who lives with the picture in the guest room? Is
Yeah.
that
No.
Brent, let me ask
That
you,
was
when you are
That's a great Aunt Jody.
playing
oh,
sick,
great Aunt Jody.
when you are playing sick, do you get
Sorry,
like
just-
an outline of symptoms? And I guess how much of it is improvised? I guess. Do you come up with a backstory for your characters? Like how does that work?
Well, I can only tell you so much because it is confidential.
Okay,
Because it's
based on case studies.
it is, but it's
Really?
also a very high stakes exam. It costs
Okay.
$1,500 to take the exam,
Uh-huh.
and if you fail it, you keep paying to retake it.
Wow.
But everything is very standardized. So you can't just decide, today I have chlamydia.
That is
That's
your
a
ringtone now,
choice I
Adam.
struggle with every morning.
That is your ringtone.
I had one. I was very disappointed. I had a standardized patient tell me that they knew how to read with just one lung for a respiratory exam. And I was like, that's so cool. And then they taught me, and it's basically you just lie. And you move your shoulder, but then you stop breathing while they've got the stethoscope on you. And I was very disappointed that he hadn't actually learned to breathe with just one lung.
The worst cases are the coughing cases because anybody can cough for a few minutes, but coughing for 8 hours is not a lot of fun.
Go home, horse.
Golly.
That when you lost your hand in an industrial accident.
Yeah, how do you
set up for
fake that one?
Well, you can't really fake that one. So
That's commitment. They have to give you like hazard or overtime pay or something.
Yes.
But cool.
I guess you're.
So Hank,
What do you do?
what do you do?
What's your job?
What's your all right, I'm going to ask you a series of questions. And I want you to answer them as honestly as you can, okay? Okay, good. Just make sure to speak nice and loud into the microphone when you answer, all right?
Ready.
What is your favorite color? Blue and red.
Ah.
Mario color. I'm just going to point that out. Mario.
Spider-Man colors.
Oh, Spider-Man.
Ooh, contradict that.
What is your favorite number? 4 is your favorite number. What?
Jim agrees.
That's a good number. Let's see here. What is the best present you have ever received?
I was getting Snow Thomas, then I got Dynabot.
Ooh, Dinobot. I've seen part of your Thomas collection. All the little trains and everything.
Yeah, and there's Dinobots.
And Dinobots, which are better than Thomas?
Yeah, and there's Dinobots. Them being two dinosaurs.
Ah. Do you like dinosaurs?
Mm-hmm. They're Dinobots.
They're like transformers that turn into dinosaurs instead of.
Oh.
They're called switch and go dinos, and they're made by Tech.
Thank you for that plug.
We'll put an Amazon link. Podcast.
I feel like you're softballing this interview, Monte.
Yeah, and I have one too.
And apparently you can buy the green one for Hank, and he would appreciate it.
That's right.
Did anybody buy you anything from your birthday list, Adam?
No.
Oh!
Nobody did. Well, because and it was also kind of what we didn't post it like with the podcast.
I got the big red Dinobot, big one.
What's his name? Does he have a name?
Nope.
Nope.
There was a Transformers series. It was Optimus Primal where he was like.
Yeah, but then there were
But there was
But the Dinobots were
Beast.
from the original, the first
Were-
series.
they were
which-
called
Beast
Dinobots.
Wars, but
Yeah, and just roar, like really loud.
Cool bean.
You know,
So I remember
Hank
Grandma.
has a birthday wish list that he's for.
Oh yeah.
His
Yeah,
on
and I-
Amazon too.
Yeah, and
Well, we'll post it and see what happens.
Yeah. Mine were all.
See who they like better, Adam.
Let's not play that Me. No, I ended up actually just this week ended up ordering the books that were on my wish list because they were ones that I need for the upcoming conference thing that I'm going to in April. And so it's crunch time. I need to read those books now, so I just went ahead and ordered.
Adam, look, it's Rachel Maddow.
What?
I just wanted to further dash. While we were dashing your hopes, I thought I would continue.
Well, I know she's not here because she's on a book tour right now. But she's gonna be in Atlanta next Saturday.
Rachel Maddow.
Uh-huh. This is my chance to go profess my journalistic love to Rachel Maddow. I absolutely love her show, and there's a song. There's there's a song that I've got that I think I talked about this on the podcast weeks ago, but I've gotten busy and haven't bothered to finish it. So I apologize for that. For the people that listen, I apologize. But it will come soon. I promise.
Good.
Yes. Promises.
Excellent.
Promises. All right. So anybody else here got some questions for us? As crazy as wild as you want it to be.
If not, just go.
Article.
Article.
I remember I have like this little list of hodgepodge discussion topics. One of the things that I always catches my eye whenever we're talking, chatting out about things is the various 3D printers that come out. We've done the human tissue one, we've done the one that makes homemade chocolate, custom-made chocolates. You could technically buy it and homemade. We do have an article about this. Okay.
See what I mean? You're in each other's heads.
But this one, it's really cool little device called the 3Doodler.
Yes, that's my
Yes!
I have seen that.
I have that same one saying.
Because it's freehand, three-dimensional printing.
It's like a 3D cool.
It's like a 3D pen, and you can draw flat or start into the 3 dimensions. And it basically melts. You have a big reel of the material, and it melts into, and then as you draw it, leaves a little trail. But rather than being a computer-controlled inkjet like all the main ones, this is one that you can pick up and hold in your hand.
What would you make with it?
What would I make with it? Probably a mess.
You were ready for that one. You
No, I don't really have. Dad's calling. Maybe he wants to be on the show.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Hey, Dad. Hey, you're on the air. Oh, you're here. What? Oh, okay.
Are you serious? I'll go meet him downstairs.
So, we're going to send Jeff down to meet you in the coffee shop. We're outside the door.
Elder Geek is here.
So we'll see you in just a second.
Wow.
Okay.
Surprise, surprise.
So you've heard us talk every once in a while about the Council of Geeky Elders.
Yeah.
Our confession is right now it's just one guy. It's my dad. But he is geek enough for all of us.
He is all you need. Yeah.
He's actually really amazing. He's been on the technology divisions of several medical groups, the American Academy of Pediatrics, the Society of Adolescent Medicine, ePros, which is electronic pediatric research in office settings. And so he's really sort of one of the technological medical people, particularly in pediatrics.
Yeah.
But since he's been like 10, he's been putting together cardboard computer things from the Zenith kits and stuff that were like in the back of the comic books.
Yeah.
And so he's like full-fledged. He had a little alligator in the bathtub for a while when he was a kid. So he is full-blood geek. And they were like, oh yeah, that's today. We were talking about coming down. And I was like, you are more than welcome. You are certainly invited, but feel no obligation to drive down from Stone Mountain to come be on the party episode. But apparently they're here.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, I haven't seen them.
Yeah. Anyway, so the 3Doodler.
Yeah.
I have very poor drawing skills.
Yeah.
Like when I was doing it in school for my classwork, every single day, it inflated a little bit. But again, use it or lose it, and it's just not.
It's hard.
That advice applies to so many things about life.
Anything you could think of.
All skills, really. I mean, you've got to. But because that's not where my art comes out, how I feel like I want to create, it's not that visual creation. I haven't kept up with it, so no, I think that if I got the 3-doodler,
Yeah.
I would be so excited and I'd be like, I'm going to do the Death Star in hand-drawn 3D plastic. And it would come out and it would just be like the world's largest ball of twine scale model.
Yeah, it looks difficult to maneuver. Like, even they do just a 3D spiral up.
Yeah.
One of the things. And it looks like you have to just understand how the pin works and how fast it dries and all that kind of stuff.
And you really have to see exactly what you're creating in 3D before you even like pick the thing up.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, and it's clearly still like in its prototype version. Like you can see all the bits and pieces that they're just drawing with it. But there's a Kickstarter, I think, to try and make it a full product available version. But yeah.
Speaking of Kickstarter, did you hear this week that Veronica Mars?
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen the show, which is surprising considering the obsessive love that I have for Kristen Bell. But it raised like, what was it, like
$2.5 million.
$2.5 million. Yeah, to raise money for a Veronica Mars movie.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
That nobody was talking about making. Like this was just fans.
it wasn't like on the cusp of happening. They
no,
just
no.
decided, and of course Joss Whedon released a thing. Like immediately, he was like, "We can't do this for Firefly. Slow down, calm down. Just doesn't work this time. There are other issues in play than strictly having the money to make the next Firefly happen."
That's why I'm proud to announce on the podcast we're bringing Quantum Leap back.
Yeah!
Are you sure, Sam?
Ziggy is malfunctioning. I can't.
So we can be sure that we're bringing Quantum.
I was also just slapping my hand together. I was pantomiming Ziggy. How was that, Sarah? Were you watching?
It was good.
Was I
I'm
respectful?
sitting right in front of this thing.
Well,
It's fine though because you're not ruining the illusion of Adam's. It's okay. I was standing right in front of it, so the whole world got to see my butt for a good 10 minutes.
Sure. About 45 minutes into the video podcast, you can just look at Sarah for 10 minutes or so.
Look
Yeah!
at my assets. Gonna sit there. Did your parents get lost?
Well, the car, I can
It's
literally
just
see
on
their
a
car
quest.
out the window, so I think maybe they're buying coffee or something to support the coffee house, Iron Bank Coffee House in
Woo!
Columbus.
Delicious, yes. I want to see it. I want to see it.
And
Let me
we're
see
just
it.
sneaking up on this.
With scissors.
Oh my God! He's got scissors.
Oh, no.
He's trying to cut your hair without you knowing it.
He wants to cut my stash
He
off.
said no.
You thinking about Hank? You thinking about trimming off my mustache?
Oh, no. That thing's holy.
Because we have a problem.
Aren't you thinking about trimming off your
I am
mustache?
actually thinking about.
I thought you were just gonna change it.
I really want to change it up. I want to try a different style. Because I've just trimmed it down a little bit because
There's no points anymore.
right, yeah. You can't twirl it essentially. I've
You
got.
could actually have it at Disney as a Disney play.
Oh, really? I kind of have like a little Ned Flanders thing going at the moment.
Yes.
But yeah, and I only need it because for Sherlock's tonight's the last night, and after that I can reshape, change it however I'd like. So I'm actually going to try and make it a little bit thinner. I honestly, I would love to, if I could, grow like that John Walker caterpillar across the lip mustache, but I don't. That just seems like a lot
The
of
ladies
work.
aren't really going to care for that.
They're not. I mean, talking about creep. But no, what I'm thinking about for this one is maybe just making it just a little bit smaller, so it's not quite as massive. George Clooney actually has a mustache very similar right now that I would like to steal. But everybody's making fun of it. Like all of his famous friends are like ragging on him for it. So
That's the first 6 months of having a mustache.
Yeah, man.
At first, it's like,
Not
you have a
me.
mustache, and then everybody's
really?
like,
people make fun of yours, Jim?
Yeah.
to be fair.
Mine too.
It made.
It made all the kids at the academy think I was like 40. They were like, "You're not 40 years old." I was like, "Really? Seem like I'm 40?"
Like, since the last week they had seen you?
No, when I first.
Like, if you met new
Because the
kids.
first time they ever saw me, I just had a mustache.
Yeah, but they're 12-year-olds. They think like 20 years old.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, to be fair, 20
That's depressing.
Motive silence for our youth getting killed.
Yeah. But yeah. So I think it's time for a change. Time for a change. Mix it up.
Change is good.
Yeah, change is good.
Change is good.
Are you sure they didn't go to the other country?
Their car is right
Oh,
there.
right. I don't see them.
I
I
can
can
see
see them looking.
They have They probably decided to go do something totally different, like the Arts Festival.
Wait.
And speaking of, I don't know if y'all were talking about the Arts Festival up here.
Hey,
Good.
I just thought there was somebody I knew.
Oh.
Not yet.
Speaking about the Arts Festival, I don't know, were y'all talking about Art Beat going on in Columbus
I
right
think
now?
we mentioned it. We got to talk a little bit
I'll
more. 'Cause I don't know what it is.
Reggie was talking about it very early on the podcast. ArtBeat is a local organization. I think it's been around for 3 years now, 3 or 4 years, and it's just sort of a conglomerate of all these representatives from all the different arts organizations in our community, all the theaters, the choruses, the symphonies, the art galleries. And this year, I don't know if they had this last year, but this is the first year where they have set aside basically 2 weeks to have sort of an art intensive. And so if you're in the Columbus area over the next 2 weeks, please look up ArtBeat, and it has a listing of all the different things that you can come to see and do while you're here. And there's no complaining about how expensive it is to go see theater, or expensive it is to go to a gallery or see an art movie, because many of these things are free or at a greatly reduced cost for the next 2 weeks. So come on down to Columbus, Georgia, check out ArtBeat, and I feel like we're kind of a part of it, because we're
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here in front of
Speaking
everybody.
of in the midst of this, we have very special guests who just arrived. Aaron, would you like to introduce?
Yeah. These are Doctors Edward and Jacqueline Gottlieb.
Woo! Yeah!
They are into the technological side of the medical field in a
They
lot
played
of
a
different
crucial
ways.
role in your life.
And they have the distinct privilege of actually being my parents, as well as all of their professional credits and credentials and things. So hey, say hello, introduce yourselves.
Hey, I'm Jackie.
And I'm Ed.
Great.
I'm care pediatricians in the Atlanta area, and we are pretty technological. We have an EHR in our office, and Dr. Ed just got back from a trip to Denver where he was being consulted along with several other practices about what it means to be a medical home to patients.
Last time I went to Denver, I just got insulted.
Real quick, condensed for the layman, medical home.
Medical home is a place where you get your medical care, and people know you, and people relate to you, and everything is computerized, so we can actually find you. And it's a good concept that not many folks are doing yet.
Yes.
Yes.
But it's the big thing that is coming over the horizon.
But until you get on an electronic health record, where you can manage data for populations of patients, you can't. You may be taking care of the trees, but you're not taking care of the forest.
Okay. The other really cool medical technological thing that I've been really excited and proud about is ePros and the database 10-year research studies overnight sort of thing. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, PROS is a pediatric research and medical studies. It's 25 years old, and it's part of the American Academy of Pediatrics, looking at practice-based research. So 2,000 physicians around the country are collecting data on clinical issues that are important to children. And over the last 2.5 years, there's a subset of that called ePros, people who are on electronic medical records, and we're trying to identify ways to connect data from one electronic health record to another. The truth of the matter is that we spent the last 10 years trying to get people electronic health records are really a shell game. They take data in, but what we're interested in is getting data out, and that's been a problem because most of these folks don't talk to each other. So we're developing interfaces where we can collect data from the SQL server below the electronic health record and dice and slice pieces of information so you can provide information from one place to another quickly. Currently, when we do a research study, it takes a year or two to collect data. and
Or more.
or more, and then it takes more time to put it together, publish a paper, and try and get it out to the community. If we can collect data quickly, we can spend more of our energy trying to interpret it and making sense of it. And that's what we've been doing with the 3 studies currently with 20 countries. We're looking at obesity in children, a big issue. We call height and weight gender chart, and then developing a body mass index table, basically, which looks at how those two numbers relate to each other. We can compare them across population or across community. So we're looking at that. We're looking at the use of psychotropic drugs.
Adam looked heavily into that.
That's right.
Yes, indeed. In children, a lot of it's ADHD medication, seizure medication, other kind of behavior controlling kind of medication. And for example, in the state of Georgia, 60% of psychoactive medicines for children are prescribed by pediatricians rather than psychiatrists. So it's a big issue. It's not been studied. Trying to the study that we're doing is looking specifically at attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. And what we're doing is taking the 20 practices that we have online right now, and 10 of them are going to be practice as usual, and the other 10 are going to get computer decision support prompts. So the night before a patient comes in, we go into the database and find the patient who have a diagnosis of and look at their records as far as standardized questions that are asked of these students about how they're doing with the language, and we compare that to where they've been in previous times, where when giving them a prompt the next day, this patient has been on medicine for a period of time, their numbers haven't increased a lot, maybe you should increase the dose, or maybe you should change the medication.
So,
and then the physician on the other side, or nurse practitioner, has the choice of taking that advice or not.
but this is the path to the emergency holographic doctor.
That's right. In fact, sort of coming
We should start videoing now.
the expert system that they're developing is basically what a few of us in the group are doing in clinical practice. And so they will use that, and eventually I'll be a computer chip, which will be
That's your immortality.
Immortality.
Yeah.
Can be an algorithm.
So the internist will look somewhat different, but the hologram of the pediatrician will look like you.
I like the voice of Night Rider. That would be like a card.
Yeah.
Speaking of immortality, we're just giving your dad his own show. Done.
Yeah. For real.
How many times have I suggested it?
I know. Man.
Everybody in the room is just sort of like leaning in. Jaws like.
Well, we've been sort of, yucking around. They're like, this, that, and the other. We talk about some things, and you come in with this very important thing. We're like, oh. Yeah.
That matters. But so I want to follow it up by asking if you tell us about the cardboard computer you built in
1959.
Okay.
There was an organization which still exists, which is ACM, and it's Advanced Computer. I don't know what it stands for.
It's just ACM at this point.
ACM is the oldest national computer organization in the country, as far as I know. And the head of the president of the year that we're talking about, which was fairly early in the game, said, the only way we can get the computers now is to go to a room with white walls and electrical wires under the floor, and people in lab coats take a stack of cards from you and we hope you get some information back. The only way we can successfully get people involved with computers, get people to build computers and use computers. And so we developed on its own as a part of the ECM people a thing called Brainiac.
Just Superman.
There were actually two that were in competition. One was an exact copy of the other, and I'm not sure which was either Brainiac or the other guy.
Joker.
And they advertised it in Scientific American, they were running JA for $25 for the kit. And I pleaded with my father, I was 14, please let me get this kit. And for it's $25, you could buy
There's money.
a car for that.
Well, you said to drive with your feet. Right?
I wore your ribs while you were in it.
So finally, I was able to buy this thing, and it was before transistors had been in use anyway. So what it was is a bunch of electrical connectors and these little discs. And on one side was an electric connector, and on the disc was another one. And when they connected, the light would go on, and when they didn't connect, the light would go off. And that was 1 and 0, right?
Right.
So we had a computer, and it could play tic-tac-toe and NIM and some other sorts of games. And every time you had a new, every time you wanted to do a new program, you had to take all the metal parts off and put them in new holes.
Mm-hmm. It was actual patch programming rather than software programming.
Exactly. But it was the first kit out there. I got it, which was one of these. And I'm starting to find
Was there any soldering involved? I can't solder.
well, you know, we used to consider software was solder.
Okay, because it was the softest component in the computer.
So would you not have a computer geek, honey, if you couldn't solder back in the day?
I guess not.
Hey!
Just walk out the door.
And that's my cue, folks. I gotta get out of here.
Ah, bye, Jim.
Someday you guys are going to get over your rivalry. The feud between.
I can't even solder.
Yeah, he was trying to put together a Zeman
It's
kit.
still really cute. It doesn't work.
So you sort of grew up more on the art side of things. You were you played music and you sang and you did all sorts of the cultural elements.
Yeah, well, I grew up in a family with 5 kids, and when we were in the car going somewhere, we sang. And we sang a lot.
The perfect fusion of art and technology.
Would be Aaron.
To be fair,
Yeah.
to be fair, they were driving over the Alps and they were.
No, but I mean, we made some.
That one took me.
I got it.
I'm there. I deserve that.
Sorry, what were you saying?
Actually, one of my favorite records, and these were the big 78 vinyl records that were, what, 15 inches wide? We had a record by Julie Andrews called The Last with the Delicate Air, and we practically played it till it was
Flat.
clear.
Yeah,
Flat. Julie
It
Andrews.
makes the joke better.
Yeah. So, but anyway, we'd go on these trips because when we would go on vacation, my uncle, Dad's brother lived up in Vermont with his family, so we would get in the car in Virginia, and then one day we would go to Vermont. And that was a long trip. So we would sing rounds in the car, and we would sing, you know, I remember something about the guy in Laredo.
Streets of Laredo?
Yeah, that
Yeah,
one. Yeah, we used to sing that one. Anyway,
That's the
so
first song I learned to play on my harmonica.
I never learned to play harmonica.
I can teach you Streets of Laredo.
And so when I went away to high school and other situations, I was singing in choir.
Sure.
And I did learn to play the piano, and in high school and partly in college, just in high school. In high school, I studied organ actually, but I never was any good at organ. But I can sort of stumble around on a piano when I want to, and it's something I know. And so I grew up in a very musical family, and most of the time, as Aaron knows, when I'm working around the house, I have on music that's usually classical, because that's what I grew up with. I love classical music, especially Mozart. I'm no good at the visual arts whatsoever. I cannot draw a stick figure. But I can sing, and I did sing in college in several choirs at the college itself. And since then, I've also sung in some community events and things like that. And that music is a big part of my life. Mostly, like I said, the kids, if it wasn't the NPR news, what they were hearing was classical music on the radio. Wherever
Still true whenever I come over.
Yeah.
Music or news, that's what you get.
And so then biology and science studies.
Biology and science studies, which is what you did to become a doctor. So I took them in high school and college because I knew by the age of 13 that I wanted to be a doctor.
Oh yeah, that early?
That early because my mother became seriously ill and they thought she was going to die from cancer, but the doctors saved her. And so I got into the idea that maybe I'd want to be a doctor, and I stuck with it.
I don't think I knew that specifically, that moment.
Yep, that was why.
Very cool.
And I know I know that I already had decided by 13 because I applied to go to a particular high school, and I had an interview with the headmistress. And when I said that I wanted to be a doctor, she sort of chuckled and said, "Oh, well, you've got plenty of time to change your mind."
Whoa. What did she want
4
you to
years
do?
later, I had not changed my mind.
Wow.
Very, very cool.
Yeah, because when I started in medical school, my medical school had just expanded to where 10% of the students in my class were women.
And that was
That was
an increase from the year
that was
before.
I was gonna ask about that. I didn't want to be like.
I was right at the leading edge of the increase. The year before had only been about 7 or 8, and before that had been 1 or 2 women in the class.
I wonder if that was part of why the headmistress was like,
That's right.
Because it didn't occur to her that it was a valid path, a viable path.
Right.
Well, yeah, I mean, but again, I don't know that she thought that she realized I was as ambitious as I was. Oh, maybe I was ambitious. Maybe
World domination.
whether I would be perseverant enough to get there.
Sure.
Global conquest is next. Only stopped by the X-Men group. So excited that they're on this show.
Yeah, we were I like I said, I was telling them that y'all had mentioned that you were coming down. I said you were welcome, but by no means obligated. But I'm actually really excited. It's fun.
Let's get it. Yeah. Did you know you could sponsor a week of the show for only $5?
I've already got a piece of cake here. That piece of cake.
That's a contractual agreement. There we go. We are willing to post an Amazon wish list for you and see if anybody will buy you stuff.
That's true.
We can't promise anything. So far, we've had a.
But if you want to help participate in funding the cutting edge of medicinal database technology, then
the holographic doctor.
Kick us some dough.
I got no cake.
We aim to please.
I think we should give Dr. Gottlieb a hand.
Yay!
Speaking of fundraising, we have Mr. Cameron Bean in the house. Hey, Cameron Bean, come on down. I got it. Hot seat. Welcome to the hot seat. He's like, I thought I was just gonna eat cake.
No, you gotta work for it. Now you gotta work for it.
I took my pen up front.
Here you go, have some
All right, so Cameron is the guy that I've been talking about over the last couple of weeks, my wonderfully talented acting partner in Sherlock's Mystery Dinner Theater.
It's me.
That's what he makes me say during the introduction. Cool. So
we just threw him in.
No comment. Okay.
No comment.
So
We can interview Pence next.
That's true.
That's true. The last time Cameron was on the show was about a year ago.
That's right. Yeah. It was our third one, our fourth one. Third one.
Third one that aired, at least.
Yeah. Touche. Yeah.
The idea that there are episodes so bad between 1 and 5 that we didn't release them.
The very first episode has this thing we never released. We always call the Waffle Cast, where we were so mad that the
You were
setup,
so
I
mad.
was so mad.
And I was just making fun of you.
Nothing's changed.
No.
But yeah,
have a question.
we did that.
Yes. The mute line is on.
That's normal, but then you hear this little bit right here. You did?
No, okay. I thought it was on, so you didn't,
Yeah.
you couldn't hear what I said.
I know.
Have a seat, we've muted him.
If you can hear you, then you're good.
He's unsettled.
It takes a little bit to get used to. That was the weirdest thing in flirting, to talking to the microphone and your live monitor.
Yeah.
All right, well, hey.
Hey!
Thank you. Yeah.
I see you've had cake.
I have. Junior time.
Therefore, you are contractually obligated to perform an interview.
That's right. Okay.
What have you been up to? Really, man, what have you been up to? I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, it's been a pretty busy time. You know, we just announced 2013 14 season, and we concluded our $11.5 million capital campaign on season announcement night. It was good. We were a little short that day, and we just called and called.
We called it all. You called it all.
You know, I mean, it was sort of. There were a few people that were excited. You know, when we made the announcement, they were like, "Is this for real, or is this just convenient timing?" So, you know, we still have 100,000 to raise, but we said, let's go ahead and call it a victory since we have a crowd here. But it was legitimate. So
I like Tom Porter introduced you by saying some people have probably been avoiding Cameron. Cameron Bean.
That's right.
And doing a fundraising call.
Avoid me no longer. That's right.
Um,
Yep. So that's been going on, and of course Sherlock's. There's always this strange feeling the week after Sherlock's closes. Next Friday and Saturday night, Adam and I are both going to have this very
Weird sort of buzz at about like 5 or 6 o'clock in the
supposed to
evening.
be somewhere. I'm not there. I'm nervous.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you do realize it's not quite closed yet. It sounded like you were saying it feels weird to have Sherlock's closed. You just said that it was.
Oh, we have a show tonight.
Yeah. Whatever. We've already cashed their
One more
check,
night.
so
Yeah, that's right.
they can't make it show up.
Mobile deposit. That's art and technology.
That is.
It's true. Oh, you were having some iPod issues before you.
Oh, yeah, we were
I figured out the solution. Yeah, it was interesting. It's a friend of mine who has an iPod, but you know he's an older guy, and his son set the iPod up for him initially as a gift. And so the home computer was like his son's girlfriend's computer, you know, and that's where the login and the password and all the music currently is. And he has some songs he wants to add to it, and he's been shipping them to where his son lives in Florida. He's like, to ship these CDs and the iPod to the destination that has the home computer.
That sounds like a Monteg solution.
And, I was helping his wife get a Facebook page set up, and he said, Cameron, you know how to put music on an iPod? I said, yeah. I need you to do that for me. Okay, well. It's interesting because the way it's set up, it's music that he's purchased that we're just trying to get on the device. Mm-hmm. But there's this big obstacle, you know. And it makes sense, though. I mean, people would steal.
That brings me to the evils of DRM, digital rights management, which we sort of discussed before. But it's just silly little things get in the way of practical stuff. Anyway,
Yeah.
Isn't that so?
You should watch his eyes when you say the word ultraviolet.
Oh, Jeff's eyes.
Jeff's eyes.
I was looking at Cameron. I was like,
no, I was telling Cameron to check out Jeff's eyes when ultraviolet gets brought up. There's like this Bruce Banner.
You would like me when I ultraviolet.
Like Mr. Curry.
I just get it angry. Well, last time you were here, we were all doing that tweeted show together. Now, there's another one coming, and that's very exciting.
Part of the season next year.
Just missed Jim, but yeah, I'm so excited about that's happening. That's
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah. So there we go.
Yeah. And any
we're all so excited about it.
We're all so excited about it.
And there was a character.
Tell that story again, Jeff.
Oh, you know, last time you were here, we had this tweeted show that we're doing. And guess what? We're doing another.
Yeah.
Okay, you take one.
All right. No, I was gonna say last time in the show, Cameron had a character that was immensely popular, and not just engaging within the context of the show, but amazing the impact that character had in our community. And I'm talking about Superman. No, I'm talking about Pence Henson. Pence. Yeah. Talk about that character. If anybody that's never ever listened to us.
Yeah. Well, Pence is an aspiring politician, but he attempts to show how in touch he is with the common man, but his methods, by which he does that, only show that he's so far out of touch with the common man. He's definitely still a character in development as well, and I should certainly say that. There were a lot of things that we ended up keeping and going with that, I think we're all kind of, okay, so what was that again? Who is this guy? So getting some consistencies will be important for the next show, but it was just a fun character. People like the,
Assassination.
That is possible, in keeping with the Springer theme. We could keep the character because Pence could come back as a character.
Yeah.
But
Now I see where you're going with that, yeah.
I have been thinking, there's a fella in the Yesterday and Today show right now.
Yes.
Who looks like Superman. His name is Jay Hansen. And he sounds like a wonderful opponent for Pence.
I was thinking of it because you mentioned that the other night. I was thinking about what if it was like Mirror Universe Henson. And like, the Pence Henson of our universe is the screw up kind of ego blowhard, but he's like the guy that
actually
fixed everything. And he's talented. He's handsome. And I don't know, I'm just trying to figure out some bizarre device.
You just vicariously call Cameron not handsome.
No.
Because you said mirror.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did kind of.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. My wonderfully talented, horribly disfigured acting character, Cameron Dean.
They call him Cameron Moto.
It's like high school all over again. But yeah, that's going to be, hey.
Not horribly disfigured. He's fine.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to see what else we can do with that. I imagine, he'll make another appearance in the show. It's certainly a script in progress. But, we had a lot of fun last year, and it worked out well too. We sort of utilized it for the organization's benefit outside of Tweeted as well. We had two events that one was a fundraiser in which it was like set up just like a political action committee. It was Pence PAC. And the form of the event was very similar to any other fundraiser for an elected official in town. They have these things with a light hors d'oeuvres and a cocktail party, and people come, and there's a suggested minimum contribution to the person's war chest, and of course all the funds went to the Springer. But it was good. And then we did a Pence Henson birthday party on the 4th of July. That's right. That was very fun.
So something we've been asking a lot of people that have been sitting and being interviewed by us. Do you have any questions for us?
No.
You're a wonderful, easy interview, Cameron. Thanks.
I like how direct that was.
Yeah. Well, then I'm just going to say, okay, good, do it.
Which podcast number is it?
50.
We're 50.
This is our 50th Epiversary.
Anniversary.
Anniversary.
Okay. So you've been basically doing one
Epiversary?
Yeah, we've done one week. We have
I say anniversary.
Holidays, and we did
What
one
do you say?
all year.
You said anniversary.
We actually planned to do something for an entire year,
How do you say
and we
anniversary?
did it for an entire year.
It's SARY.
There's a shoot. It's
Only
a
it's only
regional
shit because you got this
colloquy.
mustache
Huh?
going right here.
My brother would throw it.
That's the whoosh.
Anniversary. Everything.
That's Salvador, Georgia stuff, huh?
I guess. That's the one thing I say. Anniversary. Oh yeah. We're
Does everybody get to do a sign off?
As many people as we want to can do a sign off.
Sure. Or is it sore? How do you?
It's
How do you say it? You're gonna kick my what? My ash. So we've reached the end of our podcast. We've got about 10 minutes until somebody will kick us out of the room, much like we did the guys that were in the we're gonna go around and do sign-offs, and I'll just say very sincerely, it's great to have gotten a whole year under our belts and that we continue to grow. And thank you for all the people and friends that showed up today and supported us. And we had fun talking to you. And I hope you had fun talking to us.
Amen.
Yeah.
Who did sign up? Who did sign up?
Yeah. Anybody.
Anybody, who would do a sign up?
I had fun as well.
So the way we do sign-offs, first, since we've got all sorts of newbies in the room, is this is the least planned part of the show, because we try and do something that references what we've been talking about in the episode, but make it up and have it sound pithy and intelligent right at the end. And you say your name so that everybody knows who they've been listening to. So I'm Aaron Gottlieb, and I always explain the sign-offs.
I'm Nathan Hesse. I only said one thing during this entire podcast.
I'm Stephen Daniels, and I just listen to everything.
Anybody else?
Going once, going twice.
I will sign off. This is Dr. Jackie Gottlieb, and I had a wonderful time coming down here.
I'm Cameron Dean, and I was paid in cake.
Marilyn Herman, Party Accent Group.
And Ed Gottlieb, had a wonderful time, and I got my cake also.
Yes. And this is Adam Montague, and I had a super time on this very special anniversary.
And I'm Jeff, and hey guys, let's do a podcast.
Hooray!
Thank you guys. Please have more cake.
Okay.
I'm going to cut this up into two, and we're going to release 1 hour this week and 1 hour next week. It's so big.
Okay.
We have a 2-hour show.
Sure.
Yeah, we knew that going in.
Yep. That'll be nice.
We estimated that going in.
Get it next week.
It was fun to see the process of what you said.
So I'm betting you didn't watch all of it, but if you saw the beginning and you saw the end, that's how we put the podcast together and how we hang out. And we had a good time. Good people turned out, and we're sorry you couldn't make it, but we're glad you could visit digitally. All right, bye.
Made a whole copy of that.